So we just got a little bit of breaking news as I'm talking to you right now. By the time you see this, it's not breaking news, but as I'm talking to you, it is breaking news. The Senate is going to narrow eligibility for stimulus checks under a deal between the right-wing Democrats and Biden. So now single people under $75,000 get the full $1,400 benefit, but it zeroes out at $80,000, not $100,000. So they're means testing it even more and excluding more people. Couples under $150,000 get the full amount, but it zeroes out at $160,000, not $200,000. So again, they're doing more means testing and limiting the number of people who are going to get the full benefit. That's what this is. So understand the negotiations going on behind the scenes are not about the $15 minimum wage or about some sort of policy that's overwhelmingly popular. The negotiations going on behind the scenes are, how can we make this thing worse? How can we give it to fewer people? Why on earth are you having these conversations? Why is it that the backroom deals that happen in Washington, D.C. are never what's best for the people? It's always figuring out how to weasel your way out of taking care of more people. This should really piss everybody off. What do you gain out of this? It's honestly like the Democrats are trying to lose in 2022 and 2024. I mean, the number of disappointments since Biden got in there, they ran saying $2,000 checks immediately when we get elected, within the first week or so. You know, Biden was saying it. The two new Democratic senators from Georgia were saying it. Then he gets in there. They didn't do it. They didn't do $2,000 checks. They immediately started weaseling their way out of it, and they said, did we say $2,000 checks? What we meant was $2,000 total, meaning you already got $600, so now it's only $1,400. You think people aren't taking note of this? You think people don't recognize how weaselly you're being? And then all this time, you're dragging your feet more and more and more. Now, when I look at that, I think, oh, if anything, you should give people more money because the help didn't go out the door immediately, so now people need more help because time is adding up. What do they do? The exact opposite. Let's means test it more. Let's limit the amount of help even more. Who are you representing? I know who they're representing. They're certainly not representing the people. These so-called moderate Democrats are just corporate sellouts, and all they really care about, the only contingency they really care about representing is their corporate donors and the wealthy. That's why they so easily and nonchalantly decide, yeah, let's limit even more the help that goes out the door. So it's like they're trying to be more and more unpopular. There's a 2019 poll on the $15 minimum wage. It's like 67% favorability. And they're just casually leaving it off the table, even though they have the ability to put it in, and they're hiding behind procedure and saying, oh, the big bad parliamentarian made it so I can't put it in. You can overrule the parliamentarian. The Republicans do that all the time. Just put the $15 minimum wage in there. So they're excluding the $15 minimum wage, and now you're means testing even further the already weakened, watered down $1,400 check. It's pathetic. It's beyond pathetic. For the love of God, do the shit that you said you were going to do. Do the $15 minimum wage. Do the $2,000 checks. Only the Democrats can find a way to make we're going to give you money a losing issue by being so weaselly and watering it down and then watering it down again. Jesus Christ, it's so pathetic. This appeals to nobody. To nobody. And for whatever reason in D.C., they believe, oh, negotiations and bipartisanship are always, by definition, a good thing. By the way, they're going to weaken it, and they're not going to gain a single new Republican vote. You know how many Republicans, after all the talk and all this time where Biden wanted to make it a bipartisan thing, how many Republicans voted for the House version of the $1.9 trillion relief bill? Zero. 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 So why are you weakening it? If anything, what should be done is Biden and Kamala should start fighting their own party for it. Let them know, I got carrots and sticks, son. What do you want? What do you want? You want me to be your best friend or you want me to be your worst enemy? I don't know if you've seen, I got a 62% approval rating. You want to take on this fight with me? I'd go in the other direction if they dared said, let's means test him more. I say, really? Well, the checks just got $600 bigger. Now it is $2,000. They never move more in the direction of the people. And they never fight for the right position. They always do the opposite. Always weaken it, water it down. Well, we had to do it, and the thing with the sun was in my eyes, and the parliamentarian, and the other excuses and whatnot. He's virtually guaranteeing that his approval rating goes down now over time. If you delivered on big ticket items that you promised, then your approval rating would stay the same or go up. Squandering it all. FDR's rolling over in his grave. You guys campaigned on a $15 minimum wage, and now you're immediately abandoning it. You campaigned on the $2,000 checks, and then it gets weakened, and then weakened again, and then weakened again. What do you expect to happen? Of course people are going to run away from you at 1,000 miles an hour. Of course, and it doesn't even matter that the Republicans have zero ideas on their own. Zero. They'll never learn. They never learn because they don't want to learn, because the first thing in their mind is not, how do I help my constituents? That's not the first thing in their mind. See, that's the problem, is we all look at it through that perspective of like, well, this of course makes no sense because you're supposed to help your constituents and now you're hurting your constituents more. Why would you do that? Because that's not how they're thinking of it. That's not how they're thinking of it. It never was. It never was. There's always consideration about the donors. There's always consideration about getting the Republicans, who they're not going to get anyway. 0 votes in the House. It'll probably be 0 votes in the Senate. And they're just turning to instead of looking at the right-wing Democrats like Manchin and Sinema in the caucus and saying, we're going to make you heel. You're going to vote for what we want you to vote for. They always bend the knee to them. Well, I got news for all of the lawmakers on the left. You need to start exerting power like that. All of the lawmakers on the left need to start exerting power like that. You need to be the ones going out there saying, I'm not going to vote for your shitty $1.9 trillion bill if you don't put the minimum wage increase in there. I'm not going to vote for it if you means test it even more and reduce it even more. In the same way that they flex power, it's time for you to flex power, and you need to be willing to shoot the hostage. That's the only way we're going to win. You're not going to rely on the intelligence or strategy or good graces of fucking Biden and Kamala Harris. It's not going to happen. So you have to start fighting. But here we are. This is unacceptable. Every day we wake up, somehow the bill manages to get worse and worse and worse. And not only is it bad from a policy perspective, it's getting worse from a politics perspective. It's like they're trying to squander all the goodwill and the fact that they won. They're squandering it all. Because they're going back on the very basic things they said. $2,000 checks, $15 minimum wage. Already, both of those are gone. Beyond unacceptable. And I think that's clear.